My name is Sarah, and I'm 34. For the last 6 years, I've lived in a modest 2-story rental house in a sleepy suburb of Denver, the type of neighborhood where people wave from their porches and kids ride bikes until dusk. I moved here after my mom passed away from a long battle with cancer. Needed a fresh start away from the city noise and the memories. I work as a remote customer service rep for an insurance company, handling claims, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., Monday through Friday. It's not glamorous, but it pays the bills, and I can do it in my pajamas with a cup of tea on my desk. The house is old, built in the 70s, with creaky floors and a basement that floods every spring. I've gotten used to its quirks. The leaky faucet in the kitchen, the garage door that sticks, the finicky thermostat that swings from too hot to too cold. I fix what I can afford to, and the rest I live with. The trouble started small about 18 months ago in the middle of a brutal winter. I'd come home after a long shift, dealing with upset clients all day leaves you drained, and noticed the snow had been shoveled from my driveway. Not just mine, but the sidewalk too, all the way to the street. I hadn't hired anyone. The city plow hadn't come through yet. I figured it was Mr. Jenkins next door, the retired vet who sometimes cleared paths for the older folks on the block. I knocked on his door with a plate of cookies the next day to say thanks. He looked confused, said he hadn't been out since the storm hit, bad knee acting up. I laughed it off, thanked him anyway, and went home wondering if another neighbor had done it. A few days later, the garage door unstuck itself. I'd been wrestling with it for weeks, had to lift it manually every time I needed to get the car out. One morning I pressed the button out of habit, and it glided up smoothly, like it had been oiled and adjusted overnight. I checked the tracks. Fresh grease, a couple of loose bolts, tightened. No one had a key to the garage. I called the landlord thinking maybe he'd sent a repair guy without telling me. He hadn't. Said if it was fixed, great, saved him money. I felt a prickle on the back of my neck but pushed it down. Maybe I'd fixed it myself in a half-asleep haze and forgotten. Things like that kept happening. The leaky faucet stopped dripping one night. I came down for water at 2 a.m. during a bout of insomnia and turned it on. Steady stream, no leak. The handle felt new, like it had been replaced. I unscrewed it, fresh washer, clean threads. Again, no sign of entry. The doors were locked, windows shut. I started double-checking every night, walking the perimeter of the house before bed, testing latches and deadbolts. The thermostat stabilized next. One evening it was 68 degrees, perfect, and stayed that way. I hadn't touched it. The basement sump pump, which had been clanking like it was on its last leg, quieted down overnight. I went down to check. New filter, wires rewrapped neatly. I told my best friend Lena over video chat. She laughed at first, called it my house elf. But when I showed her the before and after photos I'd started taking of the faucet handle, the thermostat dial, she went quiet. "Sarah, that's not normal. Someone's coming in. Change the locks." I did. Called a locksmith the next day, had all the exterior doors rekeyed. Cost me $250 I didn't have, but I slept better for a week. Then the notes began. The first one was taped to the inside of my mailbox. Had to have been placed there after the mail carrier left. Plain white paper typed. "The pump was about to fail. Glad I caught it. You're welcome." No signature. I photographed it, added it to the growing folder on my phone. The police said it was odd but not criminal. Could be a well-meaning neighbor with a spare key from the previous tenant. They suggested talking to the folks on the block. I did. Knocked on every door within a 2-house radius. Mr. Jenkins again? The young couple across the street with the newborn. The single mom 2 doors down. No one knew anything. Everyone seemed genuine. The second note came a month later, slipped under the front door while I was at the grocery store. The roof shingles over the garage are loose. Fix 3. Rain's coming Tuesday. I climbed up with a ladder that weekend. Sure enough, fresh nails in the spots that had been lifting. The weather app showed storms rolling in midweek. I didn't sleep that night. Who was this? How did they know? I installed cameras everywhere. Doorbell, backyard, side gate. Even one in the garage pointed at the interior door. Motion alerts to my phone. The first capture was innocuous. A man in a gray jacket walking past on the sidewalk at 9:42 p.m., glancing at the house but not stopping. Average height, ball cap, no clear face. The second was at 1:18 a.m. A few nights later, same man standing at the edge of my yard, staring at the windows. He didn't move for 4 minutes, then walked away. The third, 3:05 a.m., he approached the side gate, tested it, locked, then slipped something through the slats, a small envelope. I retrieved it at dawn. Backyard hose bib was dripping, tightened it, save on water bill. I showed the footage to the police. They enhanced the frames, got a partial profile, mid-40s, clean-shaven, dark hair under the cap, ran it through their system, no matches. They patrolled the street more often, but he never showed when they were around. I started leaving lights on all night, set the cameras to record continuously. Work suffered. I was exhausted, snapping at clients on calls, mixing up claim numbers. My supervisor noticed, suggested I take a few days off. I did, but staying home alone felt worse. The fixes kept coming, each with a note. The creaky floorboard in the hallway stopped squeaking. Note under the rug. Loose nail, secured. The oven, which had been heating unevenly, baked perfectly. Note in the drawer. Calibrated the thermostat. Try cookies. I threw out the first batch I made, paranoid about tampering, even though tests from the police on previous items came back clean. I confronted the landlord again, demanded to know if anyone had spare keys. He swore no. I hired a private investigator. Drained my savings for 2 weeks of surveillance. The PI parked down the street, watched nights, caught the man on camera twice, once fixing the loose gutter at 2 a.m., climbed a ladder he'd brought, worked silently for 20 minutes. Another time, weeding my front flower bed at 4 a.m. The PI followed him the second time, lost him after 2 blocks when he ducked into an alley and vanished. No car, no trace. The PI said he moved like someone trained, careful not to leave prints or DNA. The police questioned everyone again with the new footage. No one recognized him. They staked out the house one night. He didn't show. I started sleeping at Lena's couch every other night, driving the 40 minutes each way. The cat hated the carrier, but I couldn't leave him alone. August brought the inside jobs. I came home to find the basement dehumidifier running smoothly. New belt installed. Note on the tank. Mold was starting. Prevented it. How had he gotten in? Doors locked, windows secure. The PI suggested hidden entry, crawl space, or attic vent. We checked. Attic hatch had faint dust disturbance. He could have come through the roof. I boarded it up, added alarms to every window. The next note was emailed to my work address. Alarms are good, but the wiring in the living room outlet is frayed. Fixed it last night, fire hazard avoided. I unplugged everything, called an electrician. He confirmed. Fresh wiring, professional job. No charge for me, but terror instead. The police set a trap. Plainclothes officer inside the house one night while I stayed at Lena's. He showed at 1:56 a.m. Cameras caught him emerging from the backyard shed. How long had he been there? He picked the back door lock in under 30 seconds, entered quietly. The officer confronted him in the kitchen. He didn't resist, just smiled, hands up. Just checking the pipes. Frost coming early this year. His name was Thomas Reed, 51, lived in a van parked in rotating spots around town. No fixed address. Former handyman, lost his business during the recession, bounced between jobs. No record beyond minor traffic stuff. In questioning, he said he saw me at the grocery store 2 years ago, liked my kind face. Started watching the house because it needed care. Learned my schedule by observation, when I left, when I returned, what needed fixing based on sounds or signs. He meant no harm, he claimed, just helping. Court was swift. Trespassing, stalking, breaking, and entering. He got 18 months, probation after. I testified, voice steady but hands clenched. He looked at me from the defense table, nodded once like we were old friends. It's February now. He's still inside. The house is quiet. No mysterious fixes. I sold it last fall, too many memories embedded in the walls. Moved to a high-rise apartment downtown, 24th floor, security desk, no yard to weed. New job at a different publisher, editing from a co-working space some days to avoid isolation. The cat loves the view. But last week, the elevator in my building jammed between floors. Maintenance fixed it quick. When I got to my unit, a small note was taped to the door. Cable was slipping. Caught it, you're welcome. Handwriting matched. Police say it's a copycat or coincidence. He's locked up, but I know better. Kind faces attract all sorts. I check vents now. I vary everything. I sleep with the lights on. Because help isn't always harmless. And some people fix things whether you ask or not.